sum up my role here. And in 2024, I think we're going to start the search for the next Troubadour. In that vein, here's previous Town Troubadour Emeritus Dan Thompson, who's going to join me for this. Dan and I have put together a collection of a few of the songs that we have written as your Troubadours. It was released yesterday digitally. It's on all the streaming platforms. It's called Songs of Village Charm. If you go on Spotify, go anywhere, you can listen to that. We'll have CDs on hand in the next couple of days.
And a live concert this summer, full album,
all that stuff. So keep an eye on my page. It's called Troubadour to Door. You'll see me everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. And if I'm not singing about the town, I'm singing to my chickens. The town asked for a song to celebrate the Bicentennial, and I would call this sort of a kitchen sink of a Manchester song. I tried to fit as many Manchester things into the song as possible, so I hope you enjoy it. Oh, Manchester's been home, sweet home for 200 years. This Bicentennial, let's celebrate with many cheers. All the things we love about her, things that make us proud to call her ours. The things that in 200 years she'll still make people proud. We can celebrate the kids in schools, teachers help us learn, and celebrate small businesses you find at every turn. All those green open spaces, spots to clear our heads and run around. Oh, Manchester's just big enough, still a pretty quaint New England town. Oh, happy anniversary of the founding of our home. Happy anniversary, our city of village charm. The people here in Manchester are the best who'll ever be, as evidenced by the smiles found when strolling down Main Street. There's some kids running cases, shooting hoops, skating down the road. With summer, autumn, winter, spring, all around Silk City, people go. The prettiest town for miles around, the red family. All background, space, and cultures make up our community. All the arts and farmers markets, juggles, critics break the snow. Libraries, museums, MCC, the little theater show. Oh, happy anniversary of the founding of our home. Happy birthday, Manchester, our city of village charm. Oh, congratulations, your Bicentennial. A big round of applause, 'cause we love Manchester. Yeah, we love Manchester. Yeah, we love Manchester.
Welcome, everybody. I forgot my banjo. I was actually going to do, this is such a terrible joke, but I was going to do a breakup album called Silk City Blues, so, but I forgot my banjo. Welcome. So this is really exciting to be able to kick off our Bicentennial. Before we get started, I want to thank Chris Silver and Kathy McGuire, Bree and Nico, Michelle, who have been working on this for several months now. The mayor and I, when we first started thinking about the Bicentennial about 6 months ago, sort of looked at each other and said, I think this is a Chris Silver project. And rightfully so, because he did such a great job and his staff. So it's great to see everybody here. Just briefly, I think what's great about this sort of emerging from the pandemic is just sort of the sense of optimism that we have as a community and a town. A lot of great things going on. The vibrancy of downtown, which we always talk about. We have a new library coming along in the next couple of years. And I just think that it's a great opportunity for us to celebrate the past, obviously, but really be prideful and mindful about the future and everything great about Manchester. The diversity here, the sense of community, the sense of pride. So I think it's really great for us to, again, be able to just shine a bright spot on everything that we love about our community. So what's in store for this year? We're going to have several historical and educational programs, special events and commemorative projects hosted by and in partnership with local organizations. I want to give a shout out to everyone that came here. This is such a great turnout. You never see this many people in town hall. And also I know we have several board members here from both the Board of Directors and Board of Education, so appreciate the support for the project. I think we have some state Representative Rojas is, okay, great. And then, and I know other state delegation either couldn't make it or supporting us in spirit. So ways to get involved this year, become a volunteer, support some of the upcoming events and planned celebrations. Basically, I think that the takeaway is look at our website. There's plenty of information about how to get involved as a volunteer. You can become a brand partner and utilize our artwork for your bicentennial celebration. A lot of preserving your story, which I think for folks that have been here in the community for a long time, there's, leveraging technology to through sort of audio stories, podcasts, things of that nature, to share your story of what makes you proud to be from Manchester. And again, like I said, for some of our newer residents, I think, giving examples and reasons why you're here, why you chose to live here, and what makes you excited about being a part of this community. And selfishly, at Workspace, we do have an audio studio now, and I listen to podcasts all the time, so I'm really hoping that I can use my poll to actually get on a podcast, maybe with Stacey or Silver. That's my last bad joke. So for more information, like I said, the website manchestercd.gov/bicentennial. Really excited for what we have in store this year. And in talking about celebrating and being prideful about the Manchester community, I can't think of a better person who just constantly is a cheerleader for this community, for this town, and I think embodies sort of the spirit of optimism and hope that we all have as a community. So with that, proud to introduce Mayor Jay Moran.
So we start the new year off saving taxpayers' money, no microphone. See that? We're saving money. It's great to see you all. I was down there earlier and I went to say hello to this guy, and the poor guy goes, I just want to pay my water bill. So they're coming to pay their tax bill, their water bill, move out of the way. Welcome, everyone. Let's celebrate, okay? Someone said to me, I had a vest on. Where's your sweatshirt? Let me tell you a little story here. Day one, go on the online store. I bought $150 worth of Bicentennial gear, and then the next day, Steve told me there was a 15% coupon, okay? Last week, I got a free purple and black. I got all these sweatshirts now to celebrate. It's great to be here. We're going to talk about our past, where we are today, and where we hope to envision we go as a community. And I see all the people. I came this morning and said, these are all the people who always call me and want something from me. So it's nice when you show up here live. Thank you. But I think about history, and I have to tell you, I love history, but ancestry, knowing the history of your family and where you come from, I'm not the greatest at it. My brother knows my whole Irish heritage. When I was deputy mayor, I represented Leo, Diana, and the mayor at the time at the Irish Club. I'm all excited, Moran going to the Irish Club in Glastonbury. And these 3 Irish nuns said, "Your name is Moran." I'm like, "Moran?" "It's Moran here." So no, it's Moran in the home country. But the best part was, now this is where I don't know my history. What county did you come from? And being quick on my feet, growing up in West Haven, I said, "County New Haven," right? But I grew up in West Haven. But folks, for 35, this is my home. This is where my wife grew up. This is where my children grew up, went to school. This is where my youngest daughter grew up and unfortunately passed away in this community. This is the place I love to call my home. And I think all of you in here, either you work here or live here and love this great town. Let's hear it from Manchester. So, we got to look at the past. We can look at the past and we can talk about the silk mills and the Cheney brothers and all these historicals, the Cheney Hall and the great waterfall over at Case Mountain, all the great things. And we can talk about the things that we're doing today. Let's talk about the last few years. Like most communities across this country, we survived this thing called COVID-19. We survived this because thanks to our frontline people. I see people from the hospital here, our doctors, our nurses, our emergency personnel, our police. But let's think about our teachers who got us through, and our parents that got our students through this the last few years, and where we are today. And our businesses who were suffering, who picked each other up, and we as a community took more takeout. That's where the extra 5-10 pounds on the mayor's from than we've ever had. And we've worked on this thing called inclusiveness, okay? And that's where we are today, working on the steps today. We have so much to celebrate. And we look forward to the future and the dreams we have. But we also know, the most important thing, I think, the greatest resource in this community are the folks right here and all those people out these doors that take up 60,000 people here, okay? Those are the greatest resource, the people of Manchester. So I look at Manchester as a big family, 200 years. And in those 200 years, yes, we've been dysfunctional. Yes, there are times we have fallen down and we haven't treated our brothers and sisters in this community well. And now, thanks to a lot of work in the last several years, we're working on that, we're moving forward. But when I think of the last 200 years, I think of the first month of this bicentennial year and the celebrations we had. It started a few weeks ago. On a Sunday, I came down to the Army-Navy Club. Chuck Fuller, celebrated 100 years of his life, 100 years old. A man who worked in the Cheney mills, who made the parachutes, who then went on to work in our water department. Watching him, first thing he said, "Mayor, I love this town. I've been here for 100 years. Think of it. We're celebrating 200 years. He's been here for half of it. 50 years, a quarter of it, we've been led by a great state senator and mayor, Stephanou. Thank you for your words. And if you sit at Army-Navy, you think about what the town was like years ago when a trolley was going down and how the downtown was great. When I first came to town, there was a Marlowe's and there was a Regal's and they were all gone. And now what we're doing now, in the last few years, we're reviving that downtown, right? To the folks around down here. The things that we're doing. Then, the other day I was at the dedication of the Judge Dominic Squattrito, that's the Irish guy screwing up the Italian name, pool, and talked about how Senator Lieberman was there, his good friend Joe Lieberman, saying that no matter what happened in life, Manchester was the center for him. This was his home. He loved Manchester. And, we honored him for being a great athlete as a high school athlete in college, but we honored him mostly for the work he did for civil rights back in the 60s and up to the day he died, working to make sure that's an inclusive community. That's what he did. And then, it wasn't about a week ago, we celebrated 50 years of MAC charities. Beth, I see you now. Congratulations. If there's an organization that's a perfect example of who we are as Manchester, for 50 years, we've been picking people up when they're down, and we're picking them up and making sure they go on the right path in life. That's what we need to continue to do as we move forward in this bicentennial year. And then, of course, I'm always most proud of our youth. All right, in this community. I'm a big fan of our youth, especially our Manchester High students. Last Tuesday night in our annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, to watch our youth commission, the maturity of these young men and women leading this event, diversified, they mirror the community we look like, okay? They are our future, and they were so good. And watching them give out awards for people from all the elementary schools right up to high school. Awards for service, for helping their fellow citizen. That's what Manchester is. Manchester's right here in the heart. So those are some brief stories that have happened over the last couple of weeks, right here in the start of Bicentennial, that tells the story of who Manchester is. And we're so proud of it. And yes, again, as I said, there are times we have fallen, and we have to pick each other up, and we get told by our friends, we're doing this wrong, we're doing that wrong. But as long as we continue to be the community that leads with the heart, we will be the best community east of the river, best community in Connecticut, and the best community in New England across the country. Let's hear it from Manchester, Connecticut. So, let's remember the past. Let's celebrate the present. We have so much to celebrate. And let's envision the bright future for our children and our grandchildren, that Manchester will continue to be the great community it is. Hey, we got so much to do this year. Go to manchester.gov /Bicentennial. I got that in, I didn't forget, all right? You go on there, you'll find the store, you get this nice white sweatshirt, by the way. Let's make sure we make all these events. We have so many great events all year long that are going to take this logo along with it. Let's enjoy the ride. Let's celebrate 200 years and look forward to another 200 years right here in Connecticut. Thank you. Chris, I have my time here back.
Thank you for thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Manager Steve. They had mentioned stories, and we all have a story to tell. We have a memory from our past, our childhood. Maybe it's a message we want to write to our future selves. We have set many ways up to tell your story. One of those is our online history chip project to preserve your story. So if you go to our Bicentennial website, you can register your profile and upload any story you want, video, a writing, poetry, whatever it is. So share your story. This Bicentennial is about preserving our stories and writing the history for our next 200 years. Next person I want to ask to come up has a lot of great stories to tell. He's one of the most inspirational people I know, and just an all-around great guy. He is the Race and Equity Coordinator for the Board of Education, and he also is our town poet laureate, Ryan Parker.
I don't have my normal loud voice today, so bear with me. I'll do my best to make sure that it reaches your ear and hopefully moves somewhere in your heart, makes you feel something. Thank you for the kind words, Chris. I want to give a shout out to the invisible labor behind today and what's being built in regards to the Bicentennial ongoing celebration. Give thanks to my ancestors who made it possible for me to be here with these feelings in my heart and these poems on my tongue. And I thank you all for being here to receive them. The Manchester of now is its most recent absolute best version of itself. I'll say it one more time. The Manchester of now is the most recent, absolute best version of itself. Thus far. Now that doesn't mean that we can't get better. We still have work to do. But at this moment, Manchester is the absolute best version of itself. And its mostly worthy, or most worthy current point of celebration is its people. Not a particular project or a structure or a place, but its people. The greatest gift of time throughout Manchester's existence has been the birth of diversity as it applies to race and age and ethnicity and gender. And as we dream into Manchester's future, my hope is that we continue to hold the spirit of diversity and unity centered on equity that is just as palpable as it was in 2020. And I say this because I believe that a foundation of community and justice are the key ingredients for all things beautiful to bloom. Funny thing about time, it doesn't exist. But for the sake of this social construct that moves us to recognize Manchester's bicentennial, I offer you this, a poem. An ode to the 5-mile tract of then and the Manchester of now and tomorrow. How beautiful is it to have the gift of the most ancient of beginnings still echoing amongst us as we give voice to today and dream deep into the future. How the then provides a blueprint for the now an open door for the next to come. How the past becomes a present for the present and our presence, and this paper saw and silk mill soil now holding a building of community collected in celebration of time. The existence of Manchester's 200 years around the sun. This sacred podunk land drawn and nurtured and stolen and owned and neglected and hated on and loved and left to be loved for years to come. Algonquin tongues likely spoke poems beneath many Manchester suns, once known as Orford Parish, where they perished. And before that, only what podunk tongues could hold these original caretakers, now glorious ghosts of unchosen sacrifice, so that we may arrive today only to barely breathe them into this moment. Far too little of a memory to leave. Let us not neglect the past and all of its truths. Ugly and beautiful combined. Solid as Alpheus stones built into sturdy Manchester homes. How honest it is to know that Manchester has truly been a city of village charm. And at the exact same time, a city of village harm. Let the now be a space where the truth can breathe, so we may acknowledge all the wrong and the right that proceeds, for our future depends on it. So yes, to the magic of Cheney brother creation and innovation and the flow of Hockenham in the thick veins of Manchester, and yes, to the beauty of our diverse community, and yes, to the dismal existence of Clanchester. For there is also truth in the breath of that name. And wounds cannot be healed if they are not acknowledged. And for the now and deep into the future, Manchester deserves for its wounds to be healed. For the future, Manchester deserves for its potential to be revealed. And many more pink sky sunsets atop Case Mountain. The soft trickle of blue moonlight over Wickham Park, the gallop of road racers on Main Street, Charter Oak Park fireflies after dark. For the future, Manchester deserves continued spaces for art to bloom like so many flowers. Like so many mulberry trees reaching for sky. Our community creating and colliding and thriving beyond surviving. For the future, Manchester deserves to be a place every shade of us can call home. And in the low belly of our hearts, truly feel like it is. Thank you.